Alright guys, so today we are talking about adventure prep. Lady Crab has a game in about 2 days where she's going to go and try to heal up the maimed remains of her animals. If you missed that, check out the previous video. So, I currently have no plans whatsoever for this game. It's in 2 days, we're going to get ready. So, what do I prep? How do I prep? How much do I prep? Is it detailed? Is it not? Okay, so the history of Horsewench Hawthorne is that she owned a ranch with animals, and somebody burned down that ranch, so she had to go adventuring. She's on a revenge quest to find out who and punish them. So in the last adventure, when she ran away from the dungeon, she went to Lum, and she got a little divination to try to figure out who would do that. Now, I told her that it was demons driven by men. At the time, this phrase had no meaning. What does that mean? Who is that talking about? Nobody knows. I don't know. She doesn't know. I made it up in the moment. Now, this might seem like I was locking myself into a storyline, but no. You just have to make that true at some point. So as long as at some point there is something that could be described as demonic, being driven by something that could be described as a man, we fulfill the prophecy. It's totally fine. So I have absolutely no problem just saying things in the moment, because I know that all I have to do is make them true later. Do I know who burned down her ranch? Yes, thanks to a comment on a previous video. But it is not time to fight the big bad end guy just yet. We're going to send her on a wild goose chase. So, she wants to heal up her animals. She got like 1,000 gold from clearing that dungeon. I'm going to have minions of my bad guy show up and harangue her. Now, I decided this about 2 minutes before I started this video. That's all the prep. That's it. I said that there was the symbol of a golden eagle, I think. The emblem of the man who burned down her ranch. So, the gold eagle. They are going to be a rogue adventuring company. They are going to be themed after French musketeers / duelists. Because she is a single player, I need something that's going to factor in to challenge that without overwhelming it with action economy. So I'm thinking it's going to be a series of duels. Maybe, maybe not. Not the fairest duels. Fine. That will really frustrate her. She really likes things to be fair and orderly and tidy. So a challenge for her is like, this guy challenged you to a duel, and then he cheated. She'll hate that. Okay, so we need a rumor that she can hear about how to heal maimed animals. Okay, so how do we get this rumor, this thing that she wants to do, heal maimed animals, to intersect with the lore that we want to present, which is the Gold Eagle? So it makes sense if the Adventurers Guild, which is a thing in my world, sends her on a quest. They overhear it, and they try to like steal the reward from her, like gank her while she's there. So, what can we do here? Okay, so we've got, there's a healing spring nearby, but the nature spirit who guards it has become hostile. Hawthorne is given directions and the task of negotiating peace with the spirit. She has to bring back some proof of peace. One of the best GDC talks I ever listened to was from a producer. And the producer said that their job was to reduce ambiguity until there was none left, and to do it at the right times. So what she talked about was, as the game is in development, she figures out what can't be ambiguous anymore, what we actually need to define, and then that is what she has people focus on all the way throughout. And by doing that, you don't focus on the wrong things at the wrong times. So, we do the same thing when we prep an adventure. What is proof of peace? I don't know. I need to know by the time she gets there, but not yet. Okay, so how does the Gold Eagle factor in? And I think what's happening is that the Gold Eagle is bottling up the healing waters of this spring and trying to sell it. And that the Dryad is mad that they're stealing the water instead of using it for a legitimate purpose. Okay, so for me, personally, that is plenty information to run an adventure on. I could run the whole thing. I could run 4 to 6 hours of adventure on this with nothing else. But let's go a little further. let's get some details in. Right? So I like to define some stats for my units because it's quick and it's easy, and it does make it a little smoother at game time. So we want a grunt, and we want an elite, and we want a patron. Now, these are terms that I use frequently for my prep, and you could figure this out from my other videos. So, due to the nature of the guy who burned down her ranch, we're going to name the patron Henri. The elites, what does an elite musketeer duelist look like? I think we could call this a captain, and I think he could dual wield, and I think that's going to be the big scary moment is like she's going to fight grunts who just use swords. And then when she gets to the captain, he's going to be like, do ho ho, right? And I think that's going to be a great moment. Okay, so we've got the grunts who will do their normal, regular scam of challenging you to a duel and then cheating. And then we've got the captain who will hopefully surprise her by attacking with both weapons in one round by doing like hitting her and then shooting the bird. Okay, so then what makes Henri the boss, the actual patron? What makes him special and scary? Usually it's that they're fate weavers, right? Yeah, so I think Henri needs to be like her first real introduction to the faction of the Gold Eagle, and he needs to really capture the spirit. Do things like cheat, throw sand in her eyes, and I think he's going to use decoys, is what it's going to be. I think he's going to have a bunch of mirror images, and she's going to have to figure out which one's the real one. And I think she's going to find that very frustrating. Now, something I care about that I think helps games is when you take the story, which is that the Gold Eagle is bottling and selling the healing waters, and you tie it into the mechanics. So all of these guys are going to have healing potions. Okay, so I'm going to do the boring part and throw some stats together, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so let's talk about the stats that I came up with, how it helps me play the characters, and how it ties into kind of design for a new player, a single player, that sort of thing. All 3 ranks are going to have something in common, which is their faction tags. This usually doesn't come up, but I like to make faction tags so that I kind of have an idea of how to play the character. An easy, quick reminder, they're liars, they're extortionists. That's what they do. They all have healing potions that are going to do 1d4 to all limbs. And this is for 2 reasons, really. 1, to tie it back into the story. And 2, if Lady Crab can one-shot these guys, she's going to have a pile of healing potions, which is going to make it much easier for her as a single player. Now you'll see that all 3 ranks have a rapier that is just 1d6, 1d6 parry. That is specific to my setting. I like to encourage martials, so I put a word on every weapon so that they can be a little bit more versatile. The patron, Henri, has a normal rapier, but it's gold, and it's got the word blind. He's going to throw sand out of this to hopefully blind Lady Crab. She might counterspell, but if he does it, it's going to be funny, it's going to be cool. And then she can loot it afterwards and have her own blinding rapier, which is pretty dope. Now, on grunts, I usually do not put any armor. It takes way too long in combat to whittle down tons of armor. So we skip it for most grunts. 2 HP is pretty standard for a grunt. My goblins have 2 HP. And then you get to the elites, the guys that lead squads of grunts. He's pretty much the same, but he's got some other abilities. So he can shoot a pistol, which is 1d10 damage potentially, for a full round. There is a range limit on pistols, I just need to look it up. I think it's 1d8. I forgot to put it there. But now, he does have 1 piece of armor. He has a feather cap, which is going to give him 2 cloth armor on his head. Now, when Lady Crab goes into combat with him, I'm going to explicitly say that. I'm going to say, hey, looks like he's wearing a helmet. And that lets her know to expect that she does have to deal with armor with this guy. It is somewhat unfair to have lots of grunts that are visually wearing armor, but mechanically not, and then throw one in that is and be like, oh, you should have known. Like, that's dumb. Don't do that. So yeah, his big thing is going to be that he can stab and then shoot, and that is not immediately obvious. So I think it's going to be a good moment. He has a little bit more HP, and if Lady Crab manages to loot the cap without destroying it, then she'll have an authority cap, whatever good that is to her. And then finally, the patron Henri has full tags, words, normal human HP, and that is because he is a character that acts in the world. If he survives this adventure, he'll be recurring. He will be the face of the Gold Eagle Adventuring Company until we get past his rank, kind of. Once she starts dealing with things that are closer and closer to the man who burned down her ranch, she'll move up past Henri. But until then, he's the face of the whole squad. So he gets normal stats, actual words, he can fate weave. I will go in here later, and I will add like some words that he has drawn, and then I will actually use those to make spells in real time during the game. This I will sometimes fudge if I think of something really cool in the moment, but I will use those inherent words properly all the time, right? So he's going to use bleed, escape, and decoy. I don't know how he's going to use them. I'm going to give him drawn words so that he can use them appropriately to counterspell and to cast spells. I think playing your bad guys fair is good stuff. Sometimes an opportunity just presents itself that's too good, though. Now, something that I like to do with my first rank bad guys, like Henri here, that's the first patron that you face in a faction, is I like to give them the word escape. I think it really helps keep them from getting killed horribly if they have some kind of escape. It also makes them that little douchebag that people want to hunt down and kill. So it's pretty common for my rank 1 guys to have escape. Now, this will be the first proper Fate Weaver that Lady Crab will kill. She killed the Lizard Man Mage, and she killed the Sarcophagi, but honestly, I just blatantly forgot that she's supposed to get tags from those. She's supposed to be able to extract their named tag by killing a Fate Weaver, so I actually might need to go back and give those to her. But if she kills Henri, she can choose one of his base tags to take for herself, and you can expend those the same way you would expend level up tags to heal maims and things like that. So, which conveniently is potentially going to help her out with her animals. But yeah, so what you'll see is that I have not prepped any maps because the battle board makes that really easy to do contextually wherever she decides to fight. I have not prepped any NPCs to talk to because it honestly just throws me off to have a script. Presumably she'll talk to the Adventurers Guild, presumably she'll talk to the Dryad at some point, and dealing with these guys is going to be a big part of that. She will have to use her fate-weaving, veterinarian, nature skills to get in and talk to the Dryad, but none of that requires prep. All of that is in the moment. Skill checks in Words of Power are set by a die roll in front of the player, so there's no need to prep. Yeah, so I forgot to mention, but I wanted to point out that another thing that I didn't prep at all in this adventure is how Lady Crab is going to solve any of the problem. I set up the scenario that there are dudes stealing healing water and that there's a mad Dryad. But Lady Crab could be like, nah, I'm going to go do something else. And that's totally fine. She could kill the Dryad. She could team up with the Gold Eagle. She could infiltrate the Gold Eagle as a new recruit. She could burn the whole forest to the ground. I don't actually care what she does because I'm prepared for anywhere she goes. Anywhere she goes, I have the stats for the Gold Eagle guys, so they can show up and fight. Any number of them. The Dryad, I did not stat out, but it's pretty easy to do on the fly. I think it is important not to design solutions to problems. I don't know if any of this is balanced. It's possible the elite with the gun just, rolls a crit and headshot, boom, you're dead. But I think that's a really fun part of the game is that I don't even know what's going to happen. If I knew what was going to happen, I would like DMing a lot less. Anyway, back to the video. So all in, this prep took less than an hour, and we can definitely play all day on this. The last thing that we have to figure out, that I might not figure out until we get there, what does she bring back as the proof of peace? I'd like it to be a magic item that the guild will actually let her keep. They just want to see it. So what is a super dope Dryad-themed magic item that we can give Lady Crab? If you have an idea, put it in the comments.